Jai Young sat alone in the dim light of her workstation. The Defense Intelligence Division office was almost empty at this late hour. Only the soft hum of computers and the click of her keyboard broke the silence. Her eyes burned from staring at screens for too long, but she couldn't stop now. The pattern was there. She was sure of it. "You're still here." Jai Young jumped at the voice. Tai-ho, her team leader, stood behind her with his coat already on, ready to leave. "Yes, sir. I found something strange in the signals from Sector 7, she said, pointing to her screen. "Look at these peaks. They repeat every 17.3 hours. Tai-ho glanced at her screen and frowned. Probably just space noise. The senior team already checked those readings. "But sir, these aren't random. There's a pattern that—" "Jai Young," Tai-ho cut her off with a sigh. "You've been with us for what, 8 months? The senior analysts have been doing this for years. If there was something to find, they would have found it." Jai Young bit her lip. She wanted to argue but knew it would get her nowhere. At 26, she was the youngest analyst in the division and the only woman on her team. No one took her seriously. "Don't stay too late," Tai-ho said, walking away, "and stop chasing ghosts in the data." After he left, Jai Young slumped in her chair. This wasn't the first time her concerns had been dismissed, but the pattern was real. She knew it. She pulled her long black hair into a ponytail and got back to work. For 3 more hours, she tracked the signal patterns, mapping them against known space phenomena. Nothing matched. These were not natural signals. The next morning, she arrived early, a thick folder of printouts under her arm. She spotted Min-soo, the division's most respected analyst, getting coffee. "Excuse me, Min-soo," she said, approaching him carefully. "Could I show you something I found in the Sector 7 data?" Min-soo looked at her with tired eyes. "The new girl, right? Jin Young." "Jai Young," she corrected quietly. "Right, sorry. Listen, we're preparing for the briefing with General Park. Can it wait?" Before she could answer, their department head, Director Do-hyun, called from across the room. "Everyone in the main conference room, now. We have confirmed signals from an unidentified object entering our solar system." The room burst into activity. Jai Young stood frozen, her folder clutched to her chest. The timing couldn't be a coincidence. In the conference room, screens showed a large object moving toward Earth. Do-hyun pointed to the trajectory projection. "It will reach Earth orbit in approximately 72 hours. We've been detecting unusual energy readings for the past month, but now we have visual confirmation." Jai Young's heart raced. A month. Her patterns had started appearing 2 months ago. She raised her hand. "Sir, I've been tracking unusual signal patterns from that sector for the past 8 weeks. They may be communication attempts." The room fell silent. All eyes turned to her. Do-hyun frowned. Why wasn't this reported? Tai-ho cleared his throat. Jai Young mentioned some anomalies, but they appeared to be standard background noise. Nothing that matched any communication patterns in our database. "Because they're new," Jai Young said, her voice stronger now. She opened her folder and placed her charts on the table. "Look at this pattern. It repeats, but with small variations each time, like a language." Min-soo picked up one of her charts, his eyes widening. "These timestamps. You've been tracking this for weeks." Jai Young nodded. "Every night. The patterns change, but the base frequency remains the same. I think they've been studying us before making contact." Do-hyun looked at her charts, then at the screen showing the approaching object. His face hardened. "Everyone, I want all data from Sector 7 for the past 3 months analyzed again. Jai Young, brief the team on your findings." He turned to her. "And next time someone finds a pattern, I don't care if they've been here 8 days or 8 years, I want to know about it." Jai Young felt eyes on her as she walked to the front of the room. For the first time since joining the division, people were listening. But as she looked at the approaching object on the screen, she wondered if they were already too late. 3 days later, The world held its breath. The alien ship now hung in Earth's orbit, a massive dark shape against the stars. Leaders from all nations had gathered at the United Earth headquarters in Seoul to prepare for humanity's first contact with an alien species. Jae-young sat in the back of the analysis room, surrounded by screens showing the alien vessel from different angles. Her discovery had earned her a spot on the response team, but only barely. She was still the junior analyst, still expected to stay quiet. "They're sending a transmission," called out one of the technicians. Everyone fell silent as the main screen flickered. A figure appeared, tall, with smooth gray skin and large dark eyes. Its head was hairless and slightly elongated. "People of Earth," it spoke in perfect English. "We are the Voidborn. We come in peace and friendship." The room erupted in excited whispers. "They speak our language," said Min-soo, amazed. Jae-young frowned. "They've been studying us for months. They've had time to learn." The alien continued. "We wish to share knowledge and technology. Our civilization has traveled the stars for thousands of years. We have much to offer Earth." Director Do-hyun turned to his team. "This is historic. We need to prepare for the diplomatic meeting. The president will arrive in 1 hour." As the team rushed to prepare briefing materials, Jae-young noticed something on one of the smaller screens. The alien ship was releasing small objects. Too small to be ships, but definitely not natural. "Sir," she called out, pointing to the screen. "The Voidborn ship is deploying something." Do-hyun glanced at the screen. "Probably just scanning probes. They want to learn about us." "But why deploy them over our military bases?" Jae-young asked, pulling up a map showing the objects' locations. Each one hovered over a major defense installation. Tae-ho shook his head. "Pure coincidence. They're evenly spread around the globe." "No, they're not," Jae-young insisted, highlighting the pattern. "They're specifically positioned over our defense systems. And look at this." She pulled up a frequency analysis. "They're transmitting data on the same hidden frequency I found earlier." Do-hyun looked uncomfortable. "Jae-young, I appreciate your attention to detail, but we can't approach the first diplomatic contact in human history with suspicion." "But." "No buts," he said firmly. "The president and 15 world leaders are coming here to welcome the Voidborn. We need to project trust and openness." Jae-young fell silent, but her mind raced. Something wasn't right. The diplomatic meeting began 2 hours later in the Grand Hall. Jae-young watched from a monitor in the analysis room. The Voidborn ambassador, who called himself Emissary Vex, stood tall among the human leaders. "We offer a formal alliance," Vex said. "We will share medical technology that can cure your diseases, energy systems to end your resource problems, and defense technology to protect your world." The president stepped forward, beaming. "On behalf of Earth, we gratefully accept your friendship." Jae-young couldn't stay silent. She rushed to the security entrance of the Grand Hall, where Admiral Han was watching the proceedings. "Admiral," she said breathlessly, "the Voidborn are mapping our defenses. Their probes are positioned to neutralize our military capabilities." Admiral Han frowned. "Do you have proof?" "The data patterns. Not theories. Proof." His voice was stern. Jae-young hesitated. "No concrete proof yet, but—" "Then this isn't the time," he said. "We're making history in there." "History or a mistake?" she challenged. The Admiral's face softened slightly. "Keep analyzing. If you find real evidence, I'll listen. But for now, we proceed with diplomacy." As Jae-young walked back to her station, she heard cheers from the Grand Hall. The alliance was official. Earth had just welcomed the Voidborn with open arms. And no one but Jae-young noticed the small smile on Emissary Vex's face as he looked at a device on his wrist, a device receiving data from the probes around the world. 6 months had passed since the Voidborn arrived. Earth had changed. Alien technology appeared in every major city. Voidborn representatives worked with human scientists, sharing medical treatments and energy systems. People celebrated in the streets. A new age of prosperity had begun. But Jai Young didn't celebrate. She worked longer hours than ever, hidden away in a small office that nobody visited. After raising too many concerns, she had been moved to special projects, a nice way of pushing her aside. Tonight, she sat in her tiny office, staring at her private collection of data. For months, she had tracked every void-born ship, every communication, every diplomatic visit. The pattern was clear now. A soft knock interrupted her thoughts. She quickly covered her screens. "Come in," she called. The door opened, and Sung Min stepped in. He was a quiet analyst who had joined the division just before the Voidborn arrived. They'd rarely spoke. "Working late again?" he asked. Jai Young nodded cautiously. "Just finishing some reports." Sung Min closed the door and looked around nervously. "No, you're not." His voice dropped to a whisper. "You're tracking the Voidborn deployment patterns." Jai Young's hand moved toward the emergency button under her desk. "Don't worry," Sung Min said quickly. "I think you're right about them. I've been watching too." He placed a small drive on her desk. "This is from the classified defense network. I have access because I'm working on the joint defense project with the Voidborn." Jai Young stared at the drive. "This is highly classified. Why give it to me?" "Because yesterday I saw something." Sung Min's voice shook slightly. "The Voidborn asked for access to our missile defense codes. For system integration," they said. Our leaders agreed without question. Jai Young's heart raced as she plugged in the drive. The screen filled with data, the locations of every major Earth defense system, and next to each one, a Voidborn diplomatic ship. "They're surrounding our defenses," she breathed. "Just like I predicted." Sung Min nodded. "And there's more. Look at this." He showed her a chart of Voidborn ship movements. Every 3 days, they rotated positions in perfect sequence. "They're testing response times," Jai Young said, her mind racing. "Measuring how quickly our systems react to their movements." "Exactly," Sung Min agreed. "And next week, there's a major friendship ceremony where our leaders will give the Voidborn access to the global defense network." Jai Young stood up suddenly. "We need to show this to Admiral Han. Now." "It's midnight," Sung Min reminded her. "This can't wait until morning." They made their way through the dark, empty building to the secure communication room. Jai Young used her still valid security clearance to send an urgent message to Admiral Han. 20 minutes later, the Admiral's stern face appeared on the screen. "This had better be important," Analyst Jai Young. "Sir, I have proof the Voidborn are planning an attack," she said, uploading the data. "They've positioned ships near every major defense installation worldwide. Their movement patterns show they're testing our response capabilities." The Admiral studied the data, his expression growing darker. "This is concerning, but still not definitive proof of hostile intent." "Sir, they're asking for defense codes next week," Sung Min added. "Once they have those—" "I know what it means," Admiral Han interrupted. He was silent for a long moment. "Continue gathering evidence. I'll delay the defense code integration, claiming technical issues. But I need something concrete before I can alert the President." After the call ended, Jai Young turned to Sung Min. "We need more. We need to know exactly what they're planning." Sung Min looked nervous. "How? We don't have access to their ships or communications." A determined look crossed Jai Young's face. "Then we'll have to get access. You're on the Joint Defense Project. Can you get me into the next meeting with the Voidborn?" "As what?" "You've been sidelined." "As your assistant," Jai Young said. "Nobody notices assistants. Nobody pays attention to the quiet girl in the corner. That's been my problem all along. But now it's going to be my advantage." Sung Min nodded slowly. "The infiltration begins." Outside, a Voidborn ship quietly changed position in the night sky, moving into attack formation as Earth slept peacefully below. The Defense Council meeting room was massive, with a long table that seated 20 people. Ji-young sat in a small chair against the wall, behind Sung-min. Just as she had hoped, no one looked at her. She was just another aide with a notepad. At the head of the table sat Emissary Vex, flanked by two tall Voidborn. Across from them was Director Do-hyun, Admiral Han, and Earth's highest military leaders. "Our defense integration project proceeds well," Vex said smoothly. "We are pleased with the cooperation." Ji-young watched carefully. Each time Vex spoke, he tapped his fingers in a specific pattern. The other Voidborn did the same. It wasn't a nervous habit, it was communication. She wrote in her notepad, recording each tap pattern. No one noticed her writing. No one ever noticed her. "We request the final security codes next week. As planned," Vex continued. "Then our ships can fully integrate with Earth's defense grid." Admiral Han cleared his throat. "We're experiencing some technical issues. We may need to delay by 2 weeks." Ji-young saw the brief flash of anger in Vex's eyes, quickly hidden behind a smile. "Technical issues. Perhaps we can help solve them," Vex offered. His fingers tapped rapidly. "Our teams are handling it," Admiral Han said firmly. After the meeting, Ji-young and Sung-min hurried back to her small office. "Did you see it?" she asked, spreading her notes on the desk. Their finger tapping. "It's a code." Sung-min nodded, and Vex was not happy about the delay. For 3 days straight, they worked to decode the finger tapping. Ji-young matched it against the signal patterns she had tracked for months. Slowly, a translation emerged. "They're saying proceed with countdown, and delay is minor," she said, looking up with wide eyes. "Sung-min, they have a timetable. This isn't diplomacy. It's an invasion plan." That night, they compiled all their evidence: the ship positions, the communication patterns, the decoded messages, and the defense system access requests. Ji-young prepared a detailed report for the full Defense Council. The next morning, she stood before Earth's top military leaders. Admiral Han had granted her 10 minutes to present her findings. Director Do-hyun looked annoyed. The other officials seemed bored or skeptical. "The Voidborn are not our friends," Ji-young began, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "They are systematically positioning for an attack." She showed them the maps of Voidborn ship placements, all surrounding Earth's defense installations. She explained the hidden communication patterns, the finger-tapping code, and the countdown references. "They need our defense codes to complete their plan," she concluded. "Once they have those, they can disable our entire global defense network in seconds." The room was silent when she finished. Then Director Do-hyun laughed softly. "An invasion plan, based on finger-tapping and ship positions." He shook his head. "The Voidborn have given us medical cures, clean energy, and advanced technology. Why would they attack us?" "To take our planet," Ji-young said simply. "We have resources they want." Admiral Han looked troubled. "Ji-young has been right before. We should at least investigate further before giving them the defense codes, and risk insulting our greatest allies." Another general asked. "The political fallout would be enormous." The council debated for an hour. Ji-young stood silent, watching her warnings being dismissed one by one. Finally, Admiral Han turned to her. "Your concern is noted, Analyst Ji-young. We will increase security monitoring, but the defense integration will proceed as planned, with only a minor delay for genuine technical issues." "You're making a terrible mistake," Ji-young said, her voice quiet but firm. Director Do-hyun stood up. "This meeting is over. Analyst Ji-young, you are reassigned, effective immediately. Your new position is in Records Management, Level 6, far away from sensitive data or Voidborn contact." As security escorted her out, Ji-young looked back at Admiral Han. For a brief moment, their eyes met. She saw doubt in his expression, but then he turned away. They were going to let the Voidborn win without a fight. 3 weeks had passed since Ji-young's reassignment to Records Management. The small office in the basement level of the defense headquarters was quiet and dull. Her new job was to organize old paper files, a task that could have been done by a computer. It was a punishment, meant to keep her silent and out of the way. But Jae-young was not idle. Each night, she secretly met with Sung-min. He brought her data about the void-born activities that she could no longer access herself. "They're moving up the timetable," Sung-min said one evening, looking worried. "The Defense Code exchange is happening tomorrow, not next week." Jae-young's heart sank. Did Admiral Han approve this? He didn't have a choice. Direct order from the president. Sung-min passed her a small device. "I made a copy of our latest findings. The void-born ships have all moved into final decisions." Late that night, Jae-young sat in her small apartment, staring at the data. The void-born ships now formed a perfect web around Earth, each one positioned to strike at a specific defense installation. Their plan was clear to her now: disable Earth's defenses, then launch a full attack. And tomorrow, they would get the codes to make it all possible. Her phone rang. It was Sung-min. "Turn on your TV," he said, his voice shaking. "Any channel." Jae-young grabbed her remote. The screen lit up with an emergency broadcast. The president stood at a podium, announcing the final integration of Earth and void-born defense systems. "Today marks a historic moment in human history," the president said proudly. "Today, we fully join hands with our friends from the stars." Behind him stood Emissary Vex, his thin lips curved in what humans had learned to recognize as a smile. His fingers tapped lightly against his leg. Jae-young gasped. She knew that pattern. "It's happening now," she whispered. "Not tomorrow. Right now." Even as she spoke, the broadcast suddenly cut out. The screen went black for a moment, then returned with static. Jae-young tried other channels. All showed the same static. Her phone beeped with an emergency alert. "Stay indoors. This is not a drill." She ran to her window and looked up at the night sky. The familiar stars were now joined by dozens of bright lights, void-born ships, no longer hiding their positions. Her phone rang again. It was Sung-min. "Jae-young," he said, his voice barely audible. "They've attacked. The defense codes, they used them to shut down everything. Military bases worldwide are under attack. Communications are failing." "Where are you?" she asked. "Defense headquarters. It's chaos here. They've..." His voice cut out. "Sung-min. Sung-min." Jae-young shouted into the phone, but the line was dead. She turned back to the window. In the distance, she could see flashes of light, weapons fire. The sound of explosions reached her moments later. Her door burst open. Jae-young spun around, expecting void-born soldiers. Instead, she saw Captain Jae-ho, a junior officer she had met in briefings months ago. "Analyst Jae-young," he said, breathing hard. "Admiral Han sent me. We need you." "Admiral Han? He's alive." "Yes. He delayed sending some of the most critical defense codes, just as you warned." Jae-ho's face was grim. "It wasn't enough to stop the attack, but it kept some of our systems operational. He remembered your warnings." "Where is he now?" "In a secure bunker with what's left of our command staff. He sent me to find you." Jae-ho handed her a small bag. "Pack essentials only. We leave in 5 minutes." As Jae-young quickly gathered her things, she grabbed the data drives containing all her research on the voidborn. The information everyone had ignored might now be humanity's only hope. From her window, she could see voidborn ships hovering over the city center. Smaller craft dropped to the streets below. The invasion had begun. The girl they had all overlooked now carried the knowledge that might save what was left of humanity. 3 months had passed since the voidborn attack. Earth was a different place now. Major cities were under alien control. Voidborn ships patrolled the skies. Humans who resisted disappeared. Deep beneath the streets of Seoul, in an abandoned subway station, Jae-young sat surrounded by screens and makeshift equipment. The station had become the headquarters of one of Earth's largest resistance cells. What had once been a transit hub was now a command center, with nearly 100 people working in the dim light of emergency generators. Status report, Jai Young said to the group gathered around her. Sung Min, who had barely escaped the defense headquarters during the attack, pointed to a map on the wall. Voidborn patrols have increased in sectors 3 and 4. They're searching for something. Or someone, added Captain Jai Ho, now one of Jai Young's most trusted lieutenants. They've captured 3 of our supply runners this week. Jai Young nodded, her face serious. In the months since the invasion, she had changed. The quiet analyst was now a resistance leader. Her deep knowledge of voidborn communication patterns had proven invaluable. Under her guidance, the resistance had learned to intercept and decode voidborn transmissions. What about Admiral Han? She asked. Still operating from the mountain bunker, Sung Min replied. His forces managed to shoot down a voidborn shuttle 2 days ago. Jai Young turned to a young woman operating a complex radio system. Any word from the Western Cell? Yes, the operator replied. They successfully disabled a voidborn communication tower in what used to be New York. For the first time that day, Jai Young smiled. Small victories were all they had now, but each one mattered. A commotion at the tunnel entrance caught everyone's attention. 2 resistance fighters dragged in a man wearing tattered military fatigues. He was wounded but conscious. We found him near the surface checkpoint, one fighter explained. Says he has information for Jai Young directly. Jai Young approached the man cautiously. Who are you? Lieutenant Kang, he said weakly, from Admiral Han's security team. I have a message. He pulled a small data chip from his pocket. The Admiral says this is for your eyes only. Jai Young took the chip to her private terminal, a small area separated from the main command center by hanging blankets. She inserted the chip and watched as Admiral Han's face appeared on the screen. Jai Young, the Admiral said, looking tired but determined. Your analysis of voidborn technology has been correct at every turn. Now we need your help more than ever. We've captured a voidborn officer. Before he died, he revealed something important. The Admiral leaned closer to the camera. The voidborn fleet is controlled by a central command ship in orbit. All their communications run through it. If we could disrupt that ship, we might have a chance to fight back. Jai Young's mind raced. This matched her own findings exactly. For weeks, she had tracked a single point where all voidborn communications converge. She returned to the main area where her team waited. The Admiral has confirmed what we suspected, she announced. The voidborn have a central command ship. It's their weakness. How does that help us? Captain Jai Ho asked. We can't reach orbit. We barely control a few blocks of this city. Jai Young walked to a large board covered with voidborn communication patterns she had decoded. We don't need to destroy their ship, she explained. We just need to break into their network. And I think I know how. She pointed to a pattern that repeated across all voidborn communications. This is their authentication sequence. It never changes. If we could create a virus that mimics this sequence, we could upload it directly into their network. Sung Min looked doubtful. Even if we created such a virus, how would we deliver it? We can't just email it to them. Jai Young's eyes sparkled with determination. We need a voidborn shuttle, one with direct access to their network. The room fell silent as everyone realized what she was suggesting. You want to hijack a voidborn ship? Captain Jai Ho asked in disbelief. Jai Young nodded. That's exactly what I want to do. In the dimly lit underground station, the impossible plan began to take shape. The overlooked analyst was about to become the architect of humanity's greatest counterattack. For 2 weeks, Jai Young barely slept. Her small corner of the underground base was filled with diagrams, code, and voidborn communication logs. Creating a virus to infiltrate an alien computer system was not easy, but Jai Young understood the voidborn better than anyone on Earth. You need to rest, Sung Min said, bringing her a cup of hot tea. Jai Young rubbed her tired eyes. The virus is almost ready. I've built it to mimic their authentication patterns perfectly. On the screen in front of her, lines of code scrolled past, a mixture of Earth programming and Voidborn commands she had decoded from intercepted transmissions. What will it do once it's in their system? Some men asked. Disable their ships, Jai-Young explained. The Voidborn fleet operates on a shared control network. This virus will freeze their weapons, navigation, and communication systems. Captain Jaho entered with a tablet in hand. The scout team has located a suitable target. A Voidborn shuttle lands at the same spot every 3 days to collect data from their ground sensors. He showed them images of a small Voidborn craft landing in a clearing just outside the city. Perfect, Jai-Young said. We need to capture it intact. Their shuttles have direct access to the command ship's network for data uploads. My team can handle the capture, Jaho said confidently. But who's going to deliver the virus? It needs to be someone who understands the Voidborn systems. Jai-Young stood up. I'll go. No, some men protested. You're too valuable to risk. You're the only one who truly understands their communication patterns. That's exactly why it has to be me, Jai-Young insisted. If anything goes wrong, I'll need to modify the virus on the spot. No one else can do that. Admiral Han, who had arrived at the base the previous day, joined the conversation. She's right. This mission has one chance to succeed. Jai-Young needs to be on that shuttle. 3 days later, Jai-Young crouched in the darkness with Captain Jiho and his team. They wore salvaged Voidborn sensor-blocking fabric that made them invisible to alien scanners. Ahead of them, in the moonlight, stood the Voidborn shuttle. 2 guards, Jiho whispered. Just as we expected. The plan was simple but dangerous. They would use stun weapons developed from captured Voidborn technology to disable the guards, then board the shuttle before an alarm could be raised. Jai-Young's heart pounded in her chest. She had never been in combat before. Her battlefield had always been data and computers. Ready? Jiho asked. She nodded, clutching the small device containing her virus. Now, Jiho signaled. His team moved silently through the darkness. The Voidborn guards fell before they could react. Jai-Young ran forward with the others, boarding the shuttle quickly. Inside, the shuttle was alien and strange. Curved surfaces glowed with soft blue light. There were no obvious controls, just smooth panels with Voidborn symbols. How long do we have? Jai-Young asked, examining the central console. 10 minutes at most before they discover the missing guards, Jiho replied. Jai-Young worked quickly, identifying the data port where the Voidborn uploaded sensor information. She connected her device and began the virus transfer. It's working, she said as symbols flashed across the alien screen. The virus is disguising itself as routine data. Suddenly, an alarm sounded. Red light pulsed through the shuttle. They found the guards, Jiho said, raising his weapon. We need to go. Not yet, Jai-Young insisted. The upload is only at 60%. Outside, they heard the distinctive sound of Voidborn energy weapons. My team will hold them off, Jiho said, moving to the shuttle door. Finish the upload. As Jiho and his fighters engaged the approaching Voidborn patrol, Jai-Young focused on the console. The progress indicator moved painfully slowly. 80%, 90%. A blast hit the shuttle, rocking it violently. Jai-Young held onto the console. 95%. Another blast. Smoke filled the shuttle. Upload complete, Jai-Young shouted. The virus was now on its way to the Voidborn command ship, hidden within routine data. Now they just needed to escape and wait for it to activate. Jai-Young grabbed her equipment and ran for the exit, praying they could all make it back to base alive. The escape from the shuttle landing site was chaos. Voidborn energy weapons lit up the night as Jai-Young and the surviving members of Jiho's team ran through the forest. 2 fighters had been hit and couldn't be saved. The rest moved as quickly as possible toward their hidden transport. We're not going to make it to the extraction point, Jiho said, breathing hard as they paused behind a fallen tree. They've called in air support. Above them, A larger void-borne ship moved through the night sky, its searchlights sweeping the forest floor. Jia Young's mind raced. The virus was uploaded, but it would take time to spread through the void-borne network. They needed to survive until then. The old tunnel entrance, she suggested. It's only half a kilometer east of here. Jia nodded. Good thinking. Stay low and follow me. They moved carefully through the underbrush, avoiding the searchlights. The entrance to the abandoned subway tunnel was hidden behind overgrown bushes. One by one, they slipped inside and pulled the camouflaged door shut behind them. In the darkness of the tunnel, Jia Young activated her small communicator. Sung Min, do you copy? The package is delivered. I repeat, the package is delivered. Static filled the line. Then Sung Min's voice came through, broken but audible. Understood. Return to base. We're monitoring their networks for any sign the virus is working. The walk through the dark tunnels took hours. When they finally reached the main base, exhausted and dirty, they found the command center buzzing with activity. Jia Young. Sung Min rushed to meet them. You did it. The virus is already causing disruptions in their network. Some of their smaller ships are reporting navigation failures. Admiral Han approached, his face serious but showing a hint of hope. Well done, all of you. But we're not celebrating yet. The Voidborn have detected something's wrong. They're trying to isolate the virus. Jia Young moved to her workstation, checking the intercepted Voidborn communications. They don't know what it is yet. They think it's a system error, but they'll figure it out soon. How long before the virus reaches the command ship? Admiral Han asked. Based on their network structure, I estimate 8 to 10 hours, Jia Young replied. But if they realize what's happening, they might cut off network access to the command ship. Admiral Han turned to his communications officer. Alert all resistance cells worldwide. Tell them to prepare for possible action within the next 12 hours. If the Voidborn ships are disabled, even temporarily, we need to strike while we can. As the base prepared for what might be humanity's last stand, an alarm suddenly blared through the command center. Multiple Voidborn ships converging on our location, a scanner operator shouted. They found us. How? Jia demanded. We were careful. Jia Young studied the incoming data and felt her blood turn cold. The shuttle. They must have tracked our communications when I contacted base. Admiral Han quickly took charge. Evacuation Plan Alpha. Everyone to the secondary base. Move. As people rushed to grab essential equipment, a massive explosion rocked the ceiling of the station. Dust and concrete rained down. They're right above us, Jia shouted. We need to move now. In the chaos, Jia Young made a split-second decision. The virus needed more time to reach the command ship. Someone needed to slow down the Voidborn's efforts to stop it. Get everyone out, she told Sung Min. I need to stay a little longer. What? No, Sung Min protested. You'll be captured or killed. I need to access their network one more time, Jia Young explained. I can strengthen the virus, make it harder to detect. It's our only chance. Before Sung Min could argue further, another explosion hit closer. Part of the ceiling collapsed, separating them. Go, Jia Young shouted through the dust cloud. I'll find another way out. As the resistance evacuated through the escape tunnels, Jia Young turned back to her workstation. The Voidborn would be inside the base within minutes. Her hands flew across the keyboard, making final adjustments to the virus code still spreading through the alien network. Above her, the sound of Voidborn weapons grew louder. Time was running out. Jia Young had just finished strengthening the virus code when the wall across the command center exploded inward. Through the dust and debris, she saw the tall, thin figures of Voidborn soldiers entering the base. Their smooth gray skin reflected the emergency lights as they scanned the room with their weapons raised. She ducked behind a fallen support beam, but it was too late. They had seen her. Human detected, one of them said in their strange, flat voice. Capture for questioning. Jia Young ran toward the far exit, but a void-borne energy blast hit the wall in front of her, blocking her path with fallen concrete. She was trapped. Outside, it was dawn. The sky was filled with void-borne ships, more than she had ever seen in one place. They brought her to a larger shuttle and pushed her inside. The shuttle rose quickly, breaking through clouds and into the darkness of space. Through a small viewport, Jia-young saw Earth growing smaller below. They were taking her to the command ship. The massive void-borne vessel loomed ahead, a dark shape against the stars. It was larger than any human structure ever built, stretching for kilometers. This was the heart of the invasion, the central control point for all void-borne operations. Jia-young felt a strange mix of fear and hope. Her virus was heading for this very ship. If it worked, she would be at ground zero when it happened. Void-borne guards led her through long corridors with curved walls and pulsing blue lights. Finally, they entered a large chamber. At its center stood a void-borne taller than the others, with markings on its gray skin that suggested high rank. "You are the one they call Jia-young," the commander said. It wasn't a question. Jia-young stood straight, meeting the alien's large black eyes. "I am. You have caused us inconvenience." The commander circled her slowly. "Our systems are experiencing errors. This began after you visited one of our shuttles." "What a coincidence," Jia-young said calmly. The void-borne commander made a sound that might have been a laugh. "You humans, so primitive, yet occasionally surprising. We monitored you for months before our arrival, analyzed your defenses, your leaders, your decision-makers. We knew exactly who to approach, who to convince, who to eliminate." "You overlooked me," Jia-young said. "Yes, a minor analyst. Insignificant." The commander moved to a control panel. "But that oversight will end now. Tell us what you did to our systems, and your death will be quick." Jia-young glanced at the ship's time display on the wall. Nearly 8 hours had passed since she uploaded the virus. It should be reaching the command ship any moment. "I'd be happy to explain," she said, buying time. "Your network has a weakness in its authentication protocols." As she spoke, she noticed something. A slight flicker in the lights. Then another. The commander saw it too. "What is happening?" it demanded, turning to a subordinate at a nearby console. "Unknown, Commander. System instability is spreading." More lights flickered. A display screen went dark, then came back with strange patterns. Jia-young smiled. "That would be my virus. Right now, it's taking control of your weapons, your navigation, your life support." Alarms began to sound throughout the ship. The commander rushed to the main control panel, but the screens were all showing error messages now. "What have you done?" it roared. "I've won the war," Jia-young said simply. At that moment, the ship shuddered violently. The main lights went out, replaced by dim emergency lighting. The commander was receiving frantic reports from across the ship. All weapons offline. Navigation offline. Fleet communications disrupted. A new voice came over the ship's communication system. A human voice. "Voidborne command vessel, this is Admiral Han of Earth Defense Forces. Your fleet is disabled. Your ground forces are cut off. Surrender now." Through the viewport, Jia-young saw Earth ships approaching. The last of humanity's space fleet, hidden since the invasion, now launching their counterattack. The door to the command chamber burst open. Human soldiers in salvaged void-borne armor rushed in, led by Captain Jiho and Admiral Han himself. "Jia-young," Jiho shouted, running to her side. "Are you all right?" She nodded, watching as the void-borne commander was surrounded. Admiral Han approached her with respect in his eyes. "Your virus worked perfectly. The entire void-borne fleet is disabled. Ground forces worldwide are surrendering." "The girl we overlooked just won the war," Jiho said, repeating the words that would soon be spoken across every free settlement on Earth. As human forces secured the command ship, Jia-young looked out at the stars and the blue planet below. The overlooked analyst had saved humanity by seeing what everyone else had missed, and now no one would overlook her again.